Hey, what's going on, Scatterbrains? Thank you for coming back to another episode of Scatter Brilliancy. My name is Travis, and I am here to do another review for Married at First Sight, Season 13, Episode 10. Y'all keep me in your thoughts and prayers. I had minor surgery today, so I have like three different drugs kind of just coursing through my veins, but not really. Y'all, I had an ingrown toenail that had to get removed today. Oh gosh, y'all, this toenail kicked my butt yesterday to the point where I knew I had to make a doctor's appointment this morning and get that thing cut out. And when I tell y'all, my toe has been in so much pain today, and they prescribed me hydrocodone and ibuprofen and antibiotic because it was infected. Y'all, I took the ibuprofen, 800 milligrams. I almost don't feel a thing right now. So I ain't going to work tomorrow, but let's just say I'm fully awake right now. All right, so let's talk about this episode. Some people we gonna go through. Oh, and if you want to buy my Christmas wrapping paper, you can buy that as well. I'm over 50% sold of my inventory of what's coming. Over 50% of it is gone. So if you wanted some, you might want to order sooner than later. Some people we just gonna kind of rush through because y'all know what we trying to get to tonight. Y'all already know what we're going to end the video with. So if that's what you're waiting for, it ain't going to be to the end. All right, so let's talk about Girla. So what happened for everybody this week, everybody met with Dr. Viviana at one point or another. And the majority of everybody received a package. Tonight's episode was about intimacy and trust. And they are on day 23 and they have like less than 5 weeks left until decision day. All right, back to Girla. When they talked to Dr. Viviana, she asked him like, where's your emotional intimacy on a rating? He is at an 8, she's at a 7. Physical intimacy, he's still the same at she's still the same at a 7 and he's at a 5. At this point in the episode, they have not kissed. That is the biggest thing. I think for the most part, everything seems to be going okay with Girla. We didn't hear a whole lot about labels or any of that kind of stuff tonight. More so it was just about the fact that they have not progressed the way that Gilbert will really like them, because Princess Myrla is holding out. He said he stands by his decision about that if they had not kissed by decision day, that he was going to ask for a divorce. But she says that they're not going to get divorced. She doesn't want him to say that, but she's confident that they're not going to get a divorce because she knows that she's going to give him a kiss eventually. And they agree that she's going to kiss him eventually. By the end of the episode, we find out that they had kissed twice. That's pretty much in a nutshell what happened with Girla. We're going to move on let's go to Bonnie next. So I think in their package, one of the questions was like, what's your biggest insecurity? What's your most embarrassing moment? And we got to find out a little bit about Bao's childhood. She grew up poor. I think those were her words. And she talked about getting off the bus and like not walking to her actual house because she didn't want her friends from school to see where she lived. Apparently her father was the town drunk, and that was also something that brought a little bit of shame for her, because she lost friends because there were many of the girls, I guess, that she was cool with who said that their mother said that Bao's father could potentially be a bad influence on that father, and so that made people not want to fool with them like that. When they meet with Dr. Viviana, they talk a lot about their intercourse. They said it was intense in a good way. It was pretty vanilla. I really don't know how intense vanilla can be. I mean, like vanilla bean, French vanilla, like how intense can it be? Because to me, vanilla is just like your standard missionary, you know what I mean? So I'm not really sure like what intense, maybe they were, never mind. So she wants a variety. She expresses that I like a variety of, I don't even feel like doing it. She wants a variety. And Johnny says, the first few times they're really lustful and he's just excited to be in there. And I'm just thinking to myself like, I'm always uncomfortable when these conversations happen on television. I know we're watching other people's lives. When people start talking about that part of their life, I'm just like, I'd rather not know. They get their package. She says that she would like it daily or at least every other day, and it seems like Johnny is cool with that as well. They get their package. It has some role playing stuff in it and some sexy dice. They roll the sexy dice, and the first thing is blow neck sofa. So he is supposed to blow on her neck while they're sitting on the sofa. And I think the other person who is receiving said action is supposed to be blindfolded. And so he's just up in like her region, just. And I don't understand how that is sexy to anybody. Even if you were blowing lightly on my neck, I don't understand. That would not turn me on. Because I mean, like what about that is attractive? Like, stop blowing on me. Like, I don't get it. Her action was lick navel floor. Yuck. And we saw her tongue like do the rim of his belly button, and I'm just like, I know it's probably some dust mites in there. Had to be some dust mites in there. I don't. Ugh. And then his was kiss navel bedroom, and it just looked like it stank in the room. Like I don't know what it was. It just gross. Moving on. That was it for Bonnie. Who do we go to next? We can go to Zakayla. I had a lot of notes for them. It seems like. I realized halfway through the episode I was taking way more notes than I needed to. So he met with his friend Jerron early on after his workout, and just catching him up on everything that's happened. When Dr. V gets there, she asked about the trust levels, and I put Michaela said 50%. But I don't know why I think it was the other way around. But either way, he is holding on to a lot of stuff, and his biggest issue is the way that Michaela has handled their issues in the past. We all can tell that Michaela is somewhat of a hothead. And side note, somebody asked me in the comments how come I don't talk about Michaela's weave the same way I talked about Taylor and her wig back during the DC season. And Michaela hasn't shown any hairstyle to make me joke about. Like I don't see the joke. Like Michaela has had braids since like the second episode, and they've been well kept and nicely styled. So I mean, I don't have a reason to joke about her hair. But Taylor's wig was absolutely horrendous that season. So I don't remember who asked me that, but I don't see any joke to make about Michaela's hair. So yeah, just wanted to put that out there. But Zach's issue is he's holding on to stuff in the way that she handles things. He says he's scarred by it, and he says it's fundamentally who she is, which she interprets as him saying that she's not going to change, that is just how she is going to be. And I think when it all comes down to it, for me, I think Zach has said himself that he had a rosy picture of what marriage is, and I guess that would be from his parents. And that's the thing, sometimes when your parents don't show you conflict resolution within a marriage, you have a warped perspective on what marriage really is. Now, that's not to say that families should be showing everybody knockdown dragouts between couples, but I do think it's important to teach conflict resolution, and I think it's sometimes good to see children see their parents in conflict, but also see their parents resolve it to a certain extent, because then that makes them think that you won't have any problems when you get married. And Zach seems to think marriage is supposed to be perfect. I think Zach kind of thinks he's perfect a little bit, because his perception is so skewed. It is so skewed. But what else? So after Viviana leaves, he moves over to the table, and then she comes over, and Michaela comes over to the table too, and she's just checking on him, and he's just saying he doesn't know what he's done to get to this point. And I would never say that Zach is responsible for how Michaela reacts or her actions, nor would I say that Michaela is responsible for Zach and his actions. I mean, everybody, you make your own choices, but you can't sit and act like you didn't play any kind of part in why y'all got to this point. Even if you just take accountability for the fact that you didn't text her that morning. That's something that you did that got y'all to this point. Now, is it going to be equal responsibility? No. Maybe it is more Michaela's fault of why they got there, but Zach definitely has a part in it. And for him to sit there and act like he didn't understand, I was confused pretty much this whole scene. And I was watching TV like what is it that I don't, being on the outside watching this show, sometimes I just find it hard to figure out how these adults don't see the error of their own ways. But I'm an adult too, and I don't see mine. But, you know, he starts crying, and she tries to rub him to comfort him, and he's like, stop. And I'm just like, she's trying to comfort you, buddy. You know, you may want to accept that, but he says he's heartbroken. And I think at the end of the day, Zach just wasn't ready. Zach did not have a clear understanding of what marriage is. And I think most people don't have a clear understanding about what marriage is. Marriage is work. People, you hear it all the time, but it is a true statement. Marriage is work. It's not easy. It's not dating. It's nothing like dating. Because, I mean, unfortunately, in a dating situation, you can just break up with somebody and move on about your life. Now, you can divorce somebody, but it's going to cost you some money. So they're different in that sense. Later on in the episode, they do what I believe was supposed to be like a honeymoon redo. They go to a pool, they go swimming, they do their whole question thing. Some of the questions I think she asked him is, maybe he asked her. Somebody asked, what were you first attracted to? He was asking her, what were you first attracted to? What are you sorry for? If you could change one thing about me, what would it be? And I just realized I put notes in the wrong place. She asked him, do you like me for me? Do you see a future? But he says he can't see a future and he's doubtful about things. I realized I put some of Girla's notes down here. So during Girla's thing, they had their cards. One of the cards was about a body shot. She says it wasn't happening. You're supposed to do some blindfolding stuff. She says she's not doing it for her lashes. They were supposed to get in a cuddle position and sync their breathing for 3 minutes. Yeah, all of this did happen. I didn't even talk about it. But it's moments like these when Myrla is like a buzzkill. You know what I mean? It's like they gave y'all these exercises to get y'all to be more closer. And you coming up with every reason why you can't do it. Like, because of your lashes, you can't put, I mean, if you close your eyes, your lashes are down. The blindfold will be over your lashes. So I don't really understand how that would mess your lashes up. So sometimes she can be a real buzzkill. And I commend Gilbert for even trying. She's uncomfortable with physical intimacy, but she likes to cuddle. At one point, they got to touch foreheads, and they're like they looking at each other like this and talking about stuff. And I don't understand. But I don't have anything else for Michaela and Zach, but that might be because their stuff was placed in another section. Who knows? Guess we'll find out. All right, we're moving on to. Yeah, I think we're moving on to Brian. Yeah, my notes are all messed up. When we first see them, he's fixing her a smoothie, and the smoothie looked like it was stewage refined. I mean, it was like blackish, greenish color. It looked like it was probably like if you went and licked the manhole cover, it looked like that's what it probably tastes like. They get their visit from Dr. Viviana. She likes how affectionate he is. She says he's the most affectionate man ever. But they haven't seen each other naked. Of course, we know they haven't gone there. And what doesn't necessarily bother me about Ryan is his face is this all the time, all the time. Just this is his face all the time, and it's starting to get on my nerves because, like, do you show emotion ever? And he did it, you know, towards the end of the episode. But I'm just like, I think I would get irritated having to look at somebody who is not smiling or anything when I'm trying to get through to you. But do you like him? Do you like her? He says yes, but Ryan is stuck in a spot, and I think Ryan's spot is very similar to where Zach is. I think people come into this process with these completely unrealistic expectations for what marriage is supposed to be or how their spouse is supposed to look or behave or think. And it's like a rude awakening, and they don't know what to do with these feelings, because the thing is, when you're dating, you have the freedom to be like, I don't like that, peace. But when you did not get a chance to choose your spouse in the situation, you are forced to deal with it. And I don't think many of these people they don't have the tools to do that. And obviously the experts are not always doing what they need to do to give these people the tools to handle these situations. I think at one point people were upset about how active the experts were in the process, and so the experts kind of pulled back. But at this point, it's obvious that they need to have their hand back in all of this, because we don't see them. Like, we don't see them at all. I feel, we see their little confessionals when they're like getting us ready for the episode and they helping us transition to something else. But as far as them being in touch with the couples, we don't see it as much as we used to, and I think that that's a problem. Where was I at? So Ryan is saying that he wants butterflies and he wants to be speechless. And Brett is feeling the kind of way because she said she's been there before where somebody is just really not into her. I'm paraphrasing a whole lot of stuff. And she says it feels very familiar. Dr. Viviana wants them to speak separately. So when they talk, it's obvious that Ryan is just not that into her. But she says he has Hollywood expectations. And I think it's not that he has Hollywood expectations. I think it's he just wants lust and passion. And those are just two things you can't manufacture. They can develop over time, but I think for most people, lust and passion sometimes are just like instant things. They happen early on in a situation, but they can develop over time. But I think for him, he's probably used to it being upfront. And because it's not there, he really doesn't know what to do with that. Yeah. She talks to Viviana. She don't talk to Viviana. She talks to Michaela. Brett talks to Michaela, and she tells her that after Dr. Viviana left, Ryan left and went home for a couple of days because he needed to get himself together. He said it was a reset of sorts. But when he returns, he says he feels better. He says that if she senses him shutting down, to just to ask him what's going on, and that he knows that there are things that he needs to work on so that when he's getting in that moment, he can, make some adjustments. And here comes the most uncomfortable part of Married at First Sight. And they've done this before. I don't know if they do it in the other seasons, but they send them to a Tantra yoga class. And the Tantra is some of the most uncomfortable stuff on television. There was no warning. There was no foreplay to this whole scene. And me and my wife busted out laughing. So they go meet with a Tantra coach. I don't know her name. And her partner, which is a man. And what they're going to do is they're going to work through the senses. And no pause, no break, no stop it, go, don't collect $200. It was none of that. They just went straight into it. She says, we're going to start with the sense of sound. She immediately starts moaning. And it was so uncomfortable. Come on, camera. It was so uncomfortable. She just says, we're going to start with the sense of sound. I was just like, oh my gosh. Like, I don't get how these exercises are supposed to turn anybody on. Like, I would be in there cracking up, looking at this lady breathe in this man's face. The next sense they do is taste. And I don't remember what they had, but they was dangling something over the mouth. But the man, the Tantra lady's man, like, he was like all over it. Like, whatever it was, he was licking all over. I bet they have some real freaky, you know what. I bet Tantra lady and Tantra man, they be getting it in. They be getting it in. Because the way he was flicking his tongue all over the place and that moaning, they be getting it in. And I bet you it stank too. The next thing they do is the sense of touch, and they take a feather and rub it all over each other. At first I thought it was like some cilantro or something, but I think it was a feather. All right, so let's get on into Rose. All right, where are they at? Okay. So, excuse me, I don't remember if I said last week that they had said that they loved each other. They go meet with Dr. Viviana, and they're just so happy. It's just like perfect. Like, oh my gosh, it's perfect. They talk about intercourse. It's awkward. They have trust. She's fully trusting him. It's great. Okay. And then we get the meat and potatoes of why we're all here tonight. So Short Jose tells us that at some point or another, we were at the clubhouse and she called me by another man's name. Dun dun dun. Rachel calls short Jose by someone else's name. And just how like the Grinch's heart grew 3 times once he developed, the spirit of Christmas and the Who's, they helped him out. Jose shrunk 3 more inches. Okay. Jose is now, short Jose is now shorter Jose because you have called him someone else's name. And what was that name? We'll get to it later on in this review. So now that shorter Jose has been called someone else's name, they're having a conversation with one of the producers, and he is like fussing and cussing her out. Like he's dropping the MF, I believe, because they had it all like asterisked out. And she says, no one is going to talk to me like that. Da, 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 da. He says, well, F you. That may not be verbatim what he said, but F and you were in the sentence. That is one of the worst things you can say to somebody is F you. And he didn't use the letter. He used the word. Then he said, get the F out. Pack your bags. Bounce. Like, it was just so like, okay, shorter Jose, like you are going off on this girl like she's not your wife. Like, nobody's going to talk to me about that. How dare she? How dare she come by another man's name? Do you see me? Do you see everything I have to offer? I am shorter Jose. Like, you're not going to call me by another man's name and think you're going to get away from it. So I told her, she's not going to do that to me. I shouldn't do that. That's not nice. Okay, let me not do that. So he tells her to get out. And we find out what happens is she walks the producer, out of the building. And I think it said it was like 12:37. By like 1:03, Jose comes in what looks like he puts the alarm on and locks the door and deadbolts it. And he locks Rachel out the apartment. But according to him, he thought she had left. He thought she was gone. And so the next day, they have their meeting with the cameras. And she's upset about the way that he expressed his feelings. And shorter Jose absolutely went off the deeper end. But it is all because shorter Jose's ego was completely deflated. He already is shorter than everybody else. But then for her to call him another man's name, it's just like, how dare she? He definitely had how dare. He probably, once she left, he probably stood and looked at himself in the mirror and said, you are worthy. Okay, get to go traps. Oh my gosh, the camera. Okay, I'm gonna do it without laughing. He went in the bathroom. And he looked at himself. He said, Jose, you are worthy of being called by your real name. My name is Jose. And I am worthy. I am tall in spirit. I am tall in my actions, and my bank account is tall. And I will not be called by another man's name. He probably went in the bathroom and gave himself the pep talk of all pep talks and said, you're not going to take that, Jose. You're not going to take that shorter Jose. I'm sure that's what happened. So anyway, they're talking. And he is like so passive aggressive. I was like, his little witty bitty heart is so hurt. She says, like I said, that she was upset about the way he expressed his feelings. And she says, do you, like something along the lines of, do you think that you expressed yourself correctly? And he was like, apparently not. Apparently not. And it's like, apparently not? Bruh, you don't, like, he has no room to see anything. Now, I don't know if we're missing something, because at this point, what I'm about to tell you hasn't happened yet. Because I'm thinking, you're acting this way solely because she revealed that she cheated on somebody, which wasn't you, but somebody else, and that she called you by somebody else's name. And once we talk about who the name is, then it's just gonna really be like, okay, yeah, you did the most to the 10th power. So we find out that she went to knock on other people's doors. I didn't tell you that. She knocked on the other cast members' doors to be let in. We don't know where she ended up that night. But she just feels like he doesn't care. He's like, I don't know. He's like, she said, I can't be your wife. And he's just like, because Shorter Jose has Shorter Jose. He knows at the end of the day, I was about to make a real inappropriate joke. He knows at the end of the day, he's going to be okay because he got himself. And he is just acting like he doesn't care. And I think that that's probably just a facade to, protect his ego, which is already, it's already like, where's me Lucky Charms? You know what I mean? It's down there, okay? She said, I can't be your wife. Makes sense. Okay, cool. Acting extreme passive aggressive, what I wrote. And then she goes to start packing her stuff. And he's like, let me know if you need any help. And I think there's some boxes that you could, some boxes you could use. And it's just like, bro, I was like, Rachel, you should run. You should run while you got the chance. But the producers intervene and everything, and she's like, are you not gonna fight for your marriage? And he was like, she made that decision. But I'm like, she's going based off of how you're acting. Rachel is actually trying to communicate with him, but he's completely shut off from all of it. And then she tells us that it's been a build-up, and that she wrote some things 2 weeks ago, and she reads it to him. And in this note, she's writing about how he's controlling, how she just doesn't like how certain things are happening. Now, where Rachel messed up was that she did not express these things when they came up. It was her job that if she was feeling some kind of way, she should have communicated that. But Shorter Jose used that as the ammunition to justify how he was acting. So like he completely glazes over or doesn't even address, how he's been acting. He immediately turns to her like, why haven't you told me this? If you had told me this, And he used it as his opportunity to deflect, and it was hard to watch. Just because it's just like he is like that ego man is insane, because he doesn't understand what he needs to take accountability for. And when people don't understand what they need to take accountability for, it's just a lack of maturity. Really, is what it all boils down to. Now, towards the end of the episode, the girls, sans Michaela, get together to go smash some stuff to let out aggression at a place, and they kind of all catch up with what's going on. Mostly they talk about Rachel, and then the guys meet up to go play golf. Now, Shorter Jose is giving his version of the story to the guys, and he talks about how she called him another man's name, and then she left, and then said she didn't want to be his wife anymore. And they're all looking like... And then they tell us in the confessional like they're missing something. Because he doesn't say anything, at least we don't see on camera. He doesn't say anything about how he like cursed her slam out. He don't say nothing about that. But then we find out the name that Rachel called him. She called him Johnny. And that is what has offended him. Now, it'd have been one thing if it had been an ex. Maybe she got an ex named Johnny, we don't know. But more than likely, she was calling him Johnny, like the cast member Johnny. Now, Johnny and Jose, though they both start with the letter J, they don't have the same sound. Johnny is the J sound, if you need to take it back to phonics. Jose is the H sound, okay? So you really can't get that part mixed up. But of all people, she called you your bro's name. You got your bromance with Johnny, But maybe... never mind. So... yeah, that was the episode. Very entertaining tonight. But between the Tantra and Jose and his Shorter Jose and his antics, I was entertained tonight. But y'all let me know what y'all thought about all of this. I feel like I was kind of all over the place because I just feel kind of like, and I don't, who knows? But I'm about to go pop another ibuprofen in a little bit because I'm about to go to bed and I don't want this pain to wake me up. I'll show y'all my toe, but some of y'all might be eating. But thank y'all for watching this review for Married at First Sight season 13 episode 10. We 10 episodes in. So again, the wrapping paper. Go get you some while you can. Carmen and I have some great things on the way in relation to this, but we'll talk about that when it's time. This camera's getting on my nerves. But y'all have a good rest of your day, night, afternoon, whenever you're watching this, and I'll be seeing y'all soon. Anything else I need to tell y'all? I probably left some stuff out. If I left it out, drop it down in the comments so we can talk about it. All right, y'all. Peace.